Well, Edwin, welcome. My name is Andries Maree. In aviation, I'm called Dries Maree. The rank that I left the Air Force with in 1992 was Commandant. I think nowadays they call it Lieutenant Colonel.
If you can just give us some background on the Buccaneer aircraft, which country it comes from, and just a little bit of info on it.
Yes, the Buccaneer, obviously, that was the pinnacle of my career. I think that would be the pinnacle of any pilot's career as far as flying goes. Before I go into the background, just to state what it was a high-speed, low-level light bomber. High speed, I mean, it could fly transonic just into the speed of sound. And it could do that for a long time, over long distances and at low altitude. Very easily. It was an easy aircraft to fly. And it was not fatiguing of the pilot because of the very high wing loading. The aircraft was stable no matter what the weather conditions were. It was designed particularly to be a low-level strike bomber. It was designed as a low-level strike bomber with nuclear weapons. The whole concept was exactly around that. It was operated by the British Navy from the aircraft carriers like Ark Royal. The background to that was subsequent to the Second World War. The British had no long-distance penetration aircraft to go underneath the enemy radar. The Mosquito during the Second World War was something of that, and I think much of the philosophy of the Mosquito went into this. The Buck had some predecessors, but then eventually they came on this final design, which was designed to fly in the transonic region where every aircraft is somewhat unstable. To have long distance, high speed, you could fly the aircraft at just almost virtually 600 knots through airspeed right onto the sound barrier. And it would deliver its weapons very accurately and consistently and come back and do it again and again. That was in my mind, thinking of all aircraft that are still flying today, that was the best compromise between distance and speed and load carrying capability and weapons accuracy. This airplane, fully laden with ammunition, with weaponry and fuel, weighed 58,000 pounds, a 25-ton, not a truck, but if you can imagine a 25-ton truck that could be moved at 600 knots, more than 1,000 kilometers per hour. You can imagine the thrust and the power of the engines. A slick lady. Two engines that if you only flew on one engine, you were not allowed to fly fast at 550 knots. Excellent airplane. You could reach the maximum speed with about 70% of thrust. You could never put full thrust and let her go. She would run herself to pieces. She would go well into the supersonic range if you allowed that. So you had to be very careful when you ever appointed or ever applied full power to those engines. The aircraft had such a high wing loading, it smoothed out all the turbulence that you would find in another airplane flying high speed at low level. With the wind we're having today, if you would fly with a Sabre even at 400 knots, it will shake and bump your head against the top of the perspex. It will tire out in 10 minutes. With this aircraft, conditions like this, you could fly at 50 feet and take your hands off the controls, and you would sit there the same way a Boeing would sit at 35,000 feet. The design was just excellent. Saying that, the design inside the cockpit, the man-machine interface system, was somewhat less than excellent. But the sheer fact of the aircraft's ability, 8,000 pounds of weaponry underneath those wings, and you could take that over a distance of 1,000 miles, nautical miles, 1,800 kilometers, and come back to where you had taken off from. I don't think there are even presently an aircraft that can carry the same amount of weapons at the same speed over the same distance, put it down onto the target as accurately and come back to where you're taken off from. I don't think it exists yet.